In the mid-2000s, I got a call from Michael Jackson. I did a painting that hangs in a recording studio in Hollywood, The Life of Marvin Gaye. It's a huge painting that tells the whole life of Marvin Gaye. Michael Jackson recorded there. I learned later that he would go to the studio just to look at the paintings instead of record. And he called my studio. His words were, "I want one, but of me, and I want it to be bigger." I didn't really love history very much as a kid. It was probably my least favorite subject in school. It wasn't until I made the connection that history is really a string of stories, and I'd always loved stories. And history is something that we're living through every day, and it's really a matter of looking back and framing that story. So once I made that connection, history became very important to me. I sold my first drawing. It was a drawing of Martin Luther King, and I sold it, I think, for 20 bucks. So, I mean, that was big money to me as an 11-year-old kid. One of the things my uncle, who is also an artist, shared with me, that my artwork not just be a pretty picture that someone puts on their wall, but it should mean something to me. It should have a deeper meaning. And I took that as to creating artwork that not only had meaning, but told a story, that told my story. I mean, I am an African American. When I think of, Nelson Mandela, or if it's Martin Luther King, or baseball players in the Negro baseball leagues, I think they all share a common theme. They've been able to overcome great obstacles by becoming the hero that dwells within them. They've been able to draw on something bigger than themselves. We all have the potential to do that. And it's great to see people who are examples of overcoming to create change in themselves and change in the world. The Capitol building in Washington is full of artwork that depicts famous American politicians, and I was asked to do a painting of Shirley Chisholm. Her personality was very memorable. They said she didn't take any guff from anyone, and she stood for what she believed in. This is artwork for the cover of a book called The Undefeated, written by Kwame Alexander. It will be published in spring of 2019. The book is a tribute to everyday African-American heroes as well as well-known historical African-American figures. This one is from the book. One of the lines in the text is "Red, white, and weary blues." So it's really a depiction of the bittersweet story of African Americans in the Civil War, who did a lot of the heavy lifting and weren't necessarily always acknowledged. So you'll see that part of the flag is in shadow. So it's a bit of somberness, but he's also very strong, still holding the flag. I use body language to convey strength. I use composition. I use color, lighting, very important. But what's most important is the way that I feel when I look at it. And if it doesn't feel right, then I'll have to keep working on it. I like to focus on the inner strength that people have, that human beings have. I want my subjects to have dignity, I want them to have strength, I want them to have power, integrity, an inner spirit that shows outwardly in my work. And I want that feeling when I'm painting a subject, I want that person to emote that because I want to emote that. And if I feel that way when I'm creating an image or portraying a subject, then I think people, when they see it, they will feel that as well. I'm very proud to have my work in museums and postal stamps and New Yorker, things like that get a lot of attention. Creating artwork is a way that, as human beings, we document our time here. We document what's important to us, our interpretations of what's going on in the world and how it affects us. It's a reflection of the human spirit. So I'm really proud to be able to contribute to that part of documenting our history. I hope that my work communicates to the African American community that we were here, that we are important, just as important as any other group of people on this planet. And not only that we're here, but that we are a very creative and important people in the world, in the universe.